So, hello everyone. Our today's topic is the child psychology. So, what is child psychology? It is the science or the study of the child mind and how it functions. So, it is also the science that deals with the mental power or interaction between conscious and the subconscious elements in a child. Now, let us discuss the various theories of the child psychology. So, the child psychology theory they can be broadly classified into two groups: psychodynamic theory, that includes psychosexual theory or the psychoanalytical theory by Sigmund Freud, psychosocial theory that developed by Erik Erikson, and cognitive theory by the James Jean Piaget. What are the theories of learning and development of behavior? They are classical condition by Pavlov, operant condition by Skinner, social learning theory by Bandura, hierarchy of need by Maslow, and Meller theory of development. So let us discuss these theories one by one. The first is the psychoanalytical theory. Who gave this theory? It was Sigmund Freud. So what is this theory? The psychoanalytical theory, it is a way of understanding how people behave and develop their personalities toward their thoughts and feeling. So it was Sigmund Freud who believed that dental problems could be related to psychological problems. So the Fred thought that the dental problems, especially with the mouth and the teeth, they could be linked to early childhood experiences and they conflict in the mind that person may not be aware of. He also believed that problems that are related to aggression, sexuality, and the oral fixation, like nail biting, overeating, could be connected to the dental issues. So the Fred described the human mind with the help of two models. They are the topographic model and the psychic model or the psychic triad. The topographical model, according to that, the human mind is can be divided into conscious mind, pre-conscious mind, and unconscious mind. The conscious mind is the part of our mind that we are aware of at any given moment. It includes our thoughts, perceptions, and sensation. The second is the preconscious mind. It is the part of our mind that we are currently not aware of, but can easily bring to consciousness if needed. That includes memories, thought that are that are just below the surface of our awareness. The third is the unconscious mind. It is the part of our mind that we are not aware of and cannot easily bring to consciousness. It includes the thought, feelings, and memories that are hidden from our awareness, as they are too painful or threatening to face. So, according to the Fred theory, the psychic triad it is like a iceberg with only small part visible above the surface, that is the conscious mind, while the much larger and more influential part is hidden below the surface, that is the preconscious and the unconscious mind. The second is the psychic model. The psychic model proposed by Fred, it is composed of three parts: ID, ego, and superego. So let us understand what does that mean. The first is the ID part. The ID part is the part of mind that immediately want satisfaction of our basic needs and desire, like the hunger, thirst, and the sex. Second is the ego. It is that part of mind that tries to find to satisfy these needs in socially acceptable way. The third is the superego part. It is the part of mind that represents our values, ideals, and sense of right and wrong. So it judges our thoughts, actions according to the culture and social norms. So according to Freud, psychological problems they arise when these three parts of mind they are not properly balanced. A healthy mind what it needs is a strong ego that can satisfy our needs and desire in a way that is acceptable to society. Now what are the ego defense mechanisms? So the displacement, projection, ego defense, rationalization, and Daniel Diaz all are the defense mechanism. So these Sigmund Freud believed that the people used to cope with anxiety and protect their self-esteem. The first is the displacement. So this defense mechanism involves shifting one feeling or impulses from object that is causing anxiety to a safer, more acceptable one. Like a person who is angry with their boss may come home and take out frustration on their spouse. Second is the projection. So this defense mechanism involves attributing one's own unacceptable thoughts or feeling to someone else. For example, a person who has a strong desire to cheat on their partner may accuse their partner of being unfaithful. The third is the ego defense. This is a broad category of defense mechanism that helps to protect the ego from the anxiety. So example includes repression that is pushing unwanted thoughts or the feelings into the unconscious, regression, reverting to an earlier mold childlike way of behaving, and reaction, formation, behaving in a way that is opposite to one's true feeling. The other is rationalization. So this defense mechanism involves creating a plausible but untrue explanation for one's behavior in order to justify it. So, for example, a person who drinks heavily, it might rationalize their behavior by saying they are just blowing off steam after a long day at work. Denial. So, this defense mechanism involves the refusing to accept or acknowledge a painful reality. Like a person who is diagnosed with a serious illness may deny that anything is wrong, even in the face of overwhelming evidence. So, according to Freud, these defense mechanisms are an unconscious way to protect ourselves from anxiety and discomfort. So, overusing them can lead to unhealthy pattern of behavior and problems in the relationship. According to the Freud, a child develops in the following stages: oral stage, anal stage, urethral stage, phallic stage, latency stage, or the genital stage. So these are the stages and age. Consider their age at the stages at following age. So phallic stage develop at 3 to 5 years, latency stage 5 to 11 years, genital stage 11 to 13 years. So what are the stages of the development of the Sigmund Freud? They are the oral stage, anal stage, phallic stage, latency phase, or the genital phase. So the oral stage that happens from birth to about 18 months old, where the primary source of pleasure and satisfaction it comes from the mouth. The infant explore the world through sucking, biting, chewing on the things, including their own fingers or the thumbs. So if the infant it is weaned too early or too late, they may develop habits like thumb sucking, nail biting. The anal stage that happens between 18 to 3 years of focus of pleasure that shift from anus, and the children learn to control their own bowel movement. Potty training during this stage can be major event for the child as they learn to control their bodily function. Phallic stage that happens between 3 to 6 years where the focus of pleasure shifts to the genitals. The children becomes curious about their own genitals and may begin to explore their own body. The boys experience the Oedipus complex where they have sexual desire for their mother and see their father as a rival. And the girls experience the Electra complex where they have sexual desire for their father and see their mother as a rival. Important is the Oedipus and Electra complex. So, what is Oedipus complex? So, the Oedipus complex refers to boy's unconscious desire to possess his mother and get rid of his father as a rival. The boy may feel jealous of his father's relationship with his mother and may wish to replace him. Whereas Electra complex, it is just the opposite of Oedipus complex. It is a similar phenomena that occurs in the girls, where they desire their father may feel envious of their mother relationship, in which they feel jealous of their mother's relationship with him. So both of these complexes they are considered to be normal developmental process during the childhood, but if they persist into the adulthood, they can develop psychological issues. So the merits of Freud theory, it is the one of the earliest and most comprehensive theory uh, of lifelong psychological development. What are the demerits? So many of the Freud theories are difficult to test scientifically and are therefore open to criticism. So they are also criticized for being sexist and being based on narrow Eurocentric view of the world. Next is the psychosocial theory by Erik Erikson. So he gave 8 stages of development throughout their life, 8 stages of child that develop throughout their life. The first is the trust versus mistrust. It is seen in infancy. The infant learn to trust or mistrust their caregivers. So, based on the consistency and the reliability of their interactions. The second is autonomy versus shame and doubt. It is seen in the toddlerhood. In the toddlerhood, the toddlers learn to be independent and develop a sense of autonomy, or they may feel ashamed and doubt about their abilities. The third is the initiative versus the guilt theory. It is seen in the preschool. The preschoolers learn to initiate activity and develop a sense of purpose, or they may feel guilty about their actions. Industry versus inferiority. The children they learn to be competent and productive or may feel inferior and struggle with low self esteem. Other is identity versus role confusion. Seen in adolescence, the adolescent develop a sense of identity or may be confused about who they are and their role in the society. Intimacy versus isolation. The young adults form close, meaningful relation or may become isolated and struggle with the intimacy. The generative versus stagnation seen in middle adulthood. The middle-aged adults contributes to society and future generation or may become stagnant and feel unproductive. The last is the integrity versus despair seen in the late childhood. The older adults reflect on their lives and feel a sensation of satisfaction about their achievements. According to the James Piaget theory of cognitive development, so the sequence of development it has been categorized into 4 major stages. They are sensory motor stage, pre-operational stage, concrete operational stage, and the formal operation stage. So the sensory motor it is the first stage in the James Piaget theory of the cognitive development. that is the study of how children develops thinking and understanding over the time. It occurs from the birth to 2 years of old age. So the child will learn about the world through their senses like sight, touch, and taste, and their motor skills such as crawling or grasping. So they develop object permanence. What is that? That is the understanding that object continue to exist even when they are out of sight. So infants in the sensory motor stage also begin to learn about the cause and effect. So they may experiment with the dropping effect to see what happens or shake a rattle to hear the noise it makes. So through this experience they begin to develop a sense of how the world works and how they can interact with it. The next stage is pre-operational stage that occurs about 2 years to about 7 years old age. Here the child will develop more mental representation of word they used. They begin to use symbols such as words and picture to represent objects and ideas. So child here will develop the language skills. They can understand and use words to express their thoughts and feeling. So in this stage, the child may struggle with the logical thinking and the understand the perspective of others. Like a child might think that a tall, thin glass it has more liquid in it than a short, wider glass, even if they contain the same amount. The third is the concrete stage that develops around 7 years to 11 years. Here the child becomes to think more, the child become more skilled, thinking logically and understanding the cause and effect relationship. So they are able to understand the concept such as conservation, which is the understanding that quantity of something remain the same even after its appearance or arrangement changes. The formal operation it is the fourth and the final stage of the cognitive development that begins around 12 age and continue through the adulthood. So here the child ability is to think in more complex ways, multiple perspectives, consider multiple perspectives and solve the problems using logical and critical thinking.